On the one hand, we absolutely need to have a political commitment to the continuance of a second commitment period under Kyoto. But for all of its difficulties, it is the one tool that we have that is a legal tool that has mandatory binding targets on developed countries. And that's why it's so important that we have to make sure that there's some way of that going forward. But at the same time, we also need the finances on the table. And to be honest, I think the two things are so interlinked. It seems to me that unless we can demonstrate to developing countries that we're serious about our commitment to tackling climate change, then they're not going to want any kind of binding agreement themselves in the future either. So that means we need to show as a demonstration of political good faith, if you like, that we're serious. That means serious climate finance on the table. It was good that there was a new fund that was set up at the most recent meeting of the climate change parties. But now what we need to do is to make sure it's properly financed. And ways we could do that could be, for example, through a so-called Robin Hood tax, a tax on financial speculation, or indeed through looking at a tax on bunker fuels, the kind of fuels that is used for shipping and aviation. Shipping and aviation, both very fast growing emitters of greenhouse gas emissions, and yet not covered by existing international agreements. So there are measures out there that, if the political will were there, governments could use to really demonstrate that they're serious about tackling this crisis. And so I would hope very, very much that we might see some progress both on that financial commitment, but also the political commitment to a continuance of Kyoto. And I understand why people might be casting around saying this just isn't working, let's look for another process. But to my mind, although we want agreements at all levels, and if countries want to come together on a voluntary basis and do work to get emissions down, of course that's a good thing. But ultimately what we need is that binding political, legal agreement. And there's no getting away from that, to be honest.